Hello and thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Tuesday, May 27th edition of our video devotionals. Thank you so much for joining us today and hope your Tuesday is going well. Yesterday we did not put a video up because of Memorial Day, and we were participating in the High Point Memorial Day observance. I think this was the 21st or 22nd year, something like that. But a young man in our church in the day, 15 years of age, decided he wanted to get involved and had a monument that was on the opposite side of Main Street next to the old train depot, had it moved to the other side of the Main Street. And there's an area over there on that corner that now has a lot of like monuments and plaques and different things, basically, I guess, attributed to military Memorial Day type observance there. So we participate in that. We pray at the event, and then they have a lot of things going on. It's actually, in its purest form, is really a really wonderful job of making Memorial Day something you really remember and why. And of course, they had speakers there. But anyway, so because of that, and then leaving, doing some things afterwards, we just decided we'll let Memorial Day be a time to reflect on what we need to, and then we'll be back today as we are. All right, so we're going to be in the book of Job today. We're going to be in chapter 19, and we're going to begin at verse number 25 and read down to, I think, verse 27. So just those three verses. So find that if it is your custom. Otherwise, we appreciate everybody watching the videos. Thank you for the comments, acknowledgments. We really do. And again, I want to say thank you again. And I think I mentioned this on Friday, but we had a great revival last week. In fact, a week ago today was the last day. But that Tuesday night was really fabulous. It was really amazing, and we thank God for it. And I'm going to do my best, because there's only one person that can really do this for me, and that's me. I'm going to do my best to try to do and to carry from what I heard and experienced. Let that be a part of my life as long as I can. And the truths of God will certainly do that. But we appreciate Brother Tony Finney, and of course the special singers. We had all of that. So we appreciate the prayers, okay? All right, so here we are, Job 19. At this point, because there's 42 chapters rather, in the book of Job, we're close to the halfway point. Job is very, very low, as you can imagine. He's got these three friends that have come, and they're really just tearing into him. Another one's going to show up a little bit later in the book, and some of the things they say just absolutely totally off base. Job doesn't know why. They don't know why, but they just tear into him like he's nothing, like he's guilty, like this is God just piling on him. And Job, of course, is saying some things. He wishes he was dead. He's railing out too. And I'm not excusing it, but I guess if I was in his position, I would do worse, perhaps. But the point is, he's in a very, very low position, even in his head, obviously. And then he's got these folks that are not encouraging him at all. But I want you to notice what he says here that shows you why I knew that Job knew God, besides the fact we know what God said about Job. We know what's said in the end. But here's some things that's an indication that tells me how a person knows God when they're in this situation. Notice what it says here. He says in verse 25, he says, "For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see God." You know, someone that's in the position he's in, and then he has those folks that are tearing into him, those three friends. The Bible tells us his acquaintance, they've kind of left him alone. His wife, of course, she's we'll use the word abandon him. She's certainly not there saying we're going to get through this. You know, alone, Job is dealing with this. But you got to realize Job knew God, and God knows Job. And for him to say what he just said here in the word of God, that tells me that we know that he knew God, and that this situation, as bad as it is, and as unknowing as it is to him, and certainly those three men, and a fourth that will show up, here's a man that knows God, and this is why he's going to get through this, because he knows God, and God's influence, and God's truths, and the effect that God's had on Job's life up until this point. So what I'm saying is, you can get through things, and if God doesn't reveal to you or anybody else what you're going through, guess what? You still have what God has given you, and there's a faith there that's going to get you through it. And I don't know how low you've ever been or how low we might go when it comes to things in our life that are not because of making bad decisions. But let me also say this. There are times you can make bad decisions, but that doesn't mean God abandons his children. I understand chastening, I understand all of that, but that's not what's going on here. So I'm saying you may be in a position, but if you know God and you know what it's like to walk with God, and you get in a situation similar to this or equal to this, then guess what you can say? You know what? I know that my Redeemer liveth, and I'm going to see him one day. And that's important. And that's how we know that God and Job had that connection, because of what Job could say in the midst of all that he's going through. Well, we're going to stop right there. Hope that's a help and a blessing to you. Hope you have a great day, safe day, healthy day. And Lord willing, we'll see you back tomorrow. And tomorrow is, guess what? Wisdom Wednesday. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.